I cried and I also was like, yeah! After reading some of these books, I had busted blood vessels. I have never been so sick to my actual stomach. Is it worth reading? Is it worth reading? Don't ask me that. Read it! Read it, read it, read it, read it. Read it. The pressure is getting worse. Ew, like what is this? I'm having a good time, but also like, oh! Hello, my beautiful besties. Welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, my name is Laurin. I'm a lover of all things books, home, and beauty. I say that every time, and every time I'm like, this is corny. I'm like, you know what? I'm corny. I say corny things, and it's the truth. I want you guys to know what you're getting into if you're new here. If you're new here, that is what you're gonna expect. Books, home, beauty, and chaos. I need to add chaos on. Today's video is for the Thought Daughters. T-H-O-U-G-H-T, the Thought Daughters. I say that being one. This is for the emo girls. Today's video is going to be about all of the books that left me in emotional damage. Severe emotional damage. These books made me boohoo. I dropped multiple tears at every single one of these. After reading some of these books, I had busted blood vessels. Okay, if that breaks it down for you, how emotionally damaging these books damaged me. Keep in mind, not everybody's emotional damage is the same. Okay, we all have different opinions. It is totally fine, but I wanted to share with you guys what books made me feel empty inside, but in the best way. Because if you're new here, are you new here? If you're new here, you know that I love to feel all the things. That is how I rate my books. I rate them off of vibes. If you follow me on Goodreads, you know that. By the way, if you're not following me on Goodreads, here's my Goodreads. It's Laurin Jones, my government name. Yes, ma'am. The best books for me personally, because I feel like reading is subjective. It is like an original experience. It is how it makes you feel and how you resonate with the characters in the story. I want to feel. I want to feel something. I want to feel something. I just want to think. I just want to see myself in a book I'm reading. So when you see these books, we have multiple books from different genres, and I'm pretty sure all of them are a part of a series. I know. But as always, this will be spoiler free. If there's any spoilers in any of my videos, I will preface before because I'm not going to ruin it for anybody. They will be spoiler free, but I will be speaking in code. Okay, so my girls that have read these books, you guys will know what I'm talking about. Okay. Also, some of these are going to be repeats. Is anyone shocked? No, nobody was shocked. But I just thought this would be a good idea to like sit down and talk about books that literally made me emo, because sometimes if you're in the mood to read something emotional, you just are. Like the girls that get it. Like I enjoy being sad when it's not in real life. You know what I mean? Like, oh, so good. So that is what today's video is going to be about. We have dark romance, we have fantasy, we have sports romance, we have drama, and I am just going to tell you guys all of my favorite books that made me emo and made me stare at a freaking wall. So if you guys want to hear about those books, then keep on watching. Okay, we're gonna get this one out of the way. Okay, because this entire series, you guys are gonna be shocked. Get ready, get ready. This entire series, I couldn't pick one book, okay? There were some that wrecked me more than others, but the whole series I boo-hooed. There is not one book that I started and finished that I didn't drop a tear, okay? And you guys are gonna be so shocked when you hear what the series is. Do you know what the series is? It's the Boys of Tommen series by Chloe Walsh. Yeah, it is. One thing about me, I'm going to find a way to bring up the Boys of Tommen in conversation. You know what I mean? And also, this is my YouTube channel. This is where I get to yap. So, yeah, of course we're talking about the Boys of Tommen. Like we're not gonna? Like, of course we are. So, yeah, absolutely. The Boys of Tommen is it's technically young adult. It is being recategorized in the US as adult because I think Chloe Walsh put out a statement. She was like, yeah, you know, in Ireland, this is like normal, and for this to be like the young adult experience. And if you've read the Boys of Tommen series, you know that I wouldn't be recommending no kids be reading it. You know what I'm saying? But I really think, I say this all the time, but like the message of this series is so freaking important. And let me get back into what the series is. I'm gonna act like you guys have never even heard of the series, okay? We're gonna yap about it. I put this book at the top of this list because I thought, yeah, I have cried at multiple books before I read the Boys of Tommen series, but I have not boohoo snot cried, popped blood vessels like I did with the series. Every single one of them. Okay, so this follows a group of intertwined friends, and it shows their childhood, their young adult years into early adulthood, and it shows just what they go through. And Chloe Walsh herself has said that in the early 2000s, it's also set in the early 2000s. Yeah, obsessed. As me, a 2000s loving girl, I'm literally obsessed with my bread and butter. Chloe Walsh herself has said, like, in the early 2000s in Ireland, this was the reality, and you have to check your trigger warnings if you're wanting to get in the series. It's technically, I would say it's like an emotional drama, but it's technically a rugby romance, the first two books, so that's in there. Yeah, it's a young adult, I would say drama, emotionally damaging. But it's very much one of those series that when you read it, you feel like it's happening to you and your best friend that you're reading about. And I just love the way Chloe Walsh writes. I love the way that she brings you into their childhood. And a lot of people are like, they'll make comments, I know on TikTok, you guys are sexualizing, you know, teenagers and whatever. And I feel like when people talk about this series, it's not about sexualizing a minor. It's about the love you have for these characters. You get to watch them go through childhood, hit puberty, in early adulthood, and your heart hurts for them because this is not a series for the light-hearted, you guys. Like I said, this is for the emo girls, it's for the thought daughters. This series is just, there's a lot of important things that are discussed, a lot of traumatic things that are discussed, so definitely check your trigger warnings. We have domestic violence, we have sexual assault, we have self-harm, we have addiction, and I really, really resonated with every single one of the characters I read about because Chloe Walsh just has written from her own personal experience. And for me, one thing about me that I look for in authors, especially auto-bi authors, and Chloe Walsh is one of them, I would follow her into a literal tsunami, babe, okay, is authors that not only put their art out there, but their vulnerability into their writing. And if you've ever read the acknowledgements, the dedications, or the acknowledgements to any of Chloe Walsh's book, you know that she has written all of these books from her personal experience and the childhood that she had, the life that she had. And she always credits her husband and his group of friends, which is the Boys of Tommen is like based off of, as, you know, to saving her. And it's just so beautiful, especially Releasing 10 that just came out. You guys, if you haven't seen my vlog and you want to see me crash out, that's for the thought daughters too. Go watch that vlog if you want to see me freak out. But the acknowledgements in that book like literally brought me to freaking tears, like again after I finished the book. And I just love Chloe Walsh. All of the books, when people are like, is it worth it? It's book talk overhyped. And I'm sick of hearing it. I'm tired of seeing it. I'm sick of it. But no, it's not overhyped. And obviously this is coming from someone who is super, super biased and super, super obsessed with the series. But like I said, Chloe Walsh put her own personal experience into it. And that right there sold the books for me after I was already obsessed with them. I was like, yeah, we rided freaking Dawn. And I do understand that the characters in this series are minors at one point. It shows their childhood, like I just said. And I feel like a lot of people were under fire on Book Talk, especially some of my favorite creators. And they had to clarify their intentions of loving the series. And they were like, okay, no one's sexualizing children. If you read the series, you get it. You get so obsessed with these characters. You love them. You feel like they're literally your best friend. Like I said, you feel like it's happening to you and your bestie. And the attachment that you grow to these characters is just crazy. And yeah, Joey does things that you're like, okay. But it's not about sexualizing a minor. It's about you walk through the fire with these characters. You know what I'm saying? So to be clear, I just wanted to touch on that because I see so much hate on TikTok sometimes, Book Talk sometimes specifically, and I'm just like, this series, if you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. And Chloe Walsh, if anything, is all about bringing awareness to things like sexualizing minors, like sexual assault, like domestic violence, and like addiction. And I just think that she's very brave for putting her own story out there, and she's also everything and so strong for bringing awareness to sensitive topics. So just know, if you go into the series and you want to read it, make sure you read your trigger warnings because your mental health is very important. But me personally, things that even kind of, I guess you could say, triggered me, healed me in the biggest way. And I think that is really the goal with reading, is it not to find a deeper meaning than just what the words on the paper say. It's to resonate with each of us, and I don't know, I just am obsessed. So that's all I'm gonna say about the Boys of Tommen. I have never cried as hard reading a book as I did with Releasing 10. I would say that was the most traumatic of the entire series, but the entire series is worth reading. And if you look at the book and you're like, this is so thick, is this worth reading? I said it is worth reading. If you believed anything I say, believe that. Believe that. That, you guys know when Big Sean tweeted that about Justin Bieber. Oh yeah, by the way, I'm wearing a Justin Bieber shirt today. If you guys didn't know, I'm obsessed with Justin Bieber, and I have been since about 2012, 2013, since his YouTube days, since his Kid Raw days. Okay, anyway, this isn't about Justin Bieber. Next, that is all on Boys of Tommen. I have to shut up because this whole video could be dedicated to Boys of Tommen. Okay, next. The next book is Powerful by Laurin Roberts. Guys, this is a fantasy. This is a young adult fantasy, and this actually is truly young adult. You guys, this was released, I want to say, before Reckless, after Powerless. This is part of the Powerless trilogy, if you haven't read the Powerless trilogy, by the way, by Laurin Roberts. And if you have, you know Kai Azar, you know Peyton Gray, you know the people, and you know Adina. They're not gonna say anything. I can't say anything because this is spoiler free, but if you know, you know. So this is a novella that follows the main character's best friend in the first book, Powerless. So Powerless follows Peyton Gray, our FMC. She is an ordinary in this kingdom of people who get separated by ordinaries and people who are gifted. And her best friend and her live in what's called the slums. So this area that's super kind of like outcasted towards the kingdom for people who like don't have powers. And it's just this like messed up system, obviously. We know all about messed up systems over here. No, we sure do. Anyway, the novella Powerful that comes after Powerless follows the exact same storyline. It just follows Adina, who is Peyton's best friend that she lives with in the slums. And that's all I'm gonna say about that. That's all I'm gonna say about that. That book, I read it in one setting, super tiny, super yittle bitty. She's little. I stared at a wall for the rest of the day. Okay, I have never been so sick to my actual stomach. Yes, I have. All these books made me sick, but this one made me sick. Made me sick. And again, I'm not gonna spoil anything. It made me sick, but it also, if you finish the rest of the series, there is Powerless, Powerful, the novella, Reckless, and Fearless. The series is great. The series is great. My least favorite will probably be Fearless, and it's not because I didn't like it. If you guys want to know more about that, then go watch my reading vlog. I have an entire reading vlog on reading Fearless, and you guys will know my thoughts. My least favorite of the series, but overall, the entire series is good. It has no smut in it. There is like a mention of it later on in the books, but it is clean for my girls that don't want to have a little smut-filled books. And if you do want a smut-filled book, don't worry, I got all kinds of recs for those too. But yeah, the Powerless trilogy is just a really great, I would say, intro to fantasy, and it has a lot of things to do with like trials, and I just really enjoyed it. Everyone compares it to the Hunger Games. I have not read the Hunger Games. I'm going to read the Hunger Games this year, but yeah, I really enjoyed it. Enemies to lovers, except it's enemies to lovers, but I would say it's soft enemies to lovers. And basically the novella that I'm talking about, if you want to ask me, I think Laurin Roberts is releasing another novella and I'm 100% going to read it. You know what gets on my nerves? You know what grinds my gears? Is when people are like, is it worth reading? Is it worth reading? Is there smut? You know I love smut, but don't ask me that. Don't ask me that when it comes to this book. Shut up. Read it. Read it, read it, read it, read it. Read it. Read it. Because yeah, this book, like I said, I read it in one setting. It's a short read, and honestly, I was one of those people. I was like, is this even worth reading? Like, I, at the point, was waiting for Reckless to come out, which is the second book, and I was like, hey, look alive, you know what I mean? I don't care. I don't want to go back to the first book. It left on a cliffhanger. All of those books end on cliffhangers, by the way. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Love Miss Laurin Roberts having us on her toes. We love it! So whenever the first book ended on a cliffhanger, I was like, hey, need the next one. Meow, sister. And then everyone was like, read this book. And I was like, you guys, shut up. And then I got the book and I read it and I was like, dare I say it's my favorite in the series. Okay, so convinced you to read it. I'm telling you guys what to do. If you haven't read the novella and you've read the entire series, read it. And also, if you don't read that, there will be things that happen later on at the end of the series that you won't get. Because I made a TikTok about this and people were like, I thought that this person was it. And I was like, read the novellas. Read the novellas. Always read the novellas. Always read the novellas. Always read the bonus scenes. Are you guys new? Are you guys new here? Like, I'm confused. Always read the bonus scenes. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say about that. I gotta cut myself off. Okay, the next 3 books I'm gonna talk about, I'm gonna do in one go because they are a part of the Legacy of God series. Ah, yeah, and of course, you guys think I'm not gonna oh, okay, you thought I wasn't gonna mention the Legacy of God series again. Okay, well, sorry if I disappointed you, but baby, we are talking about it. We're talking about it again. How many videos have I talked about the Legacy of God series in? Don't know, not keeping count, not gonna keep count because I'm gonna keep talking about it. Okay, I have an entire video dedicated to the Legacy of God series. It's called Convincing You to Read the Legacy of God series. If you wanna be convinced, spoiler free, and you wanna know what I rate all of these books in the series, go check that video out. But if you wanna hear about the 3 that caused the most emotional damage to me, then stay here. And if you wanna watch that one too, watch this video and then go to that one. Okay, now that we've discussed that, I'm obsessed with all of those books. Okay, I've talked about it. I've talked about it so many freaking times. I am obsessed. I cannot stop recommending the freaking series. That was my intro to Rina Kent. All the Rina Kent girlies have came from my throat. Sorry, I'm reading the Rinaverse. I'll get to it, ladies, okay? However, I wanna talk about the books that damaged me, okay? First one that caused severe emotional damage. I would say book 2, but I'm just gonna mention 3, okay? Don't hate me. If you wanna see what I think about these, go watch the video. But the first one that caused me to shed multiple tears is gonna be God. God of Wrath. Yeah. It's gonna be Jeremy and Cecily. Okay, yeah, of course it is. And if you wanna know more on that, go check out that video. Like I said, I'm just gonna touch base because we have 3 to talk about. The God of Wrath. I identified so heavily with Cecily. As an older daughter, I feel like Cecily's for the older daughters. Okay, first of all, Jeremy with his issues. Yeah, absolutely, babe. Of course I'm gonna relate to you. What do you mean? I loved that Jeremy and Cecily are 2 independent people who are always taking care of everybody else, who are always pushing their stuff to the back burner. You know what I mean? And whenever they both developed as characters, yo, shedding tears. What, like I'm not gonna? Whenever he took her down from a panic attack? Hey, yeah, I cried and I also was like, yeah! I was into it. I was in there like swimwear. Okay. That's all I'm gonna say about that. I identified with their characters. I love independent characters who learn to love themselves and be gentle with themselves. Okay? Sue me. Don't care. Next, the next book that cost me 2. I would say shed a few tears. No, this one was like an entire dam of water being broken. Okay? Because I didn't know what I was getting into. I was working my way up to this book. I was like, I want to skip all of the books in the Legacy of Gods just so I can get to this book. It's my first MM romance. That's gonna be God of Fury. It's gonna be God of Fury. And we all know how I feel about Nico and Bran. Again. This is just like the boys of Tommen. I have to shush myself. I will yap about this book all day. I will look for any reason to bring this book up in conversation. Again, sue me, don't care. Nico and Bran, their relationship healed me on so many levels for so many different reasons. But this is what I'm gonna say. In a short amount of time, Bran, the way he dealt with his self-hatred issues, the way he put on a front for everyone else, wrecked me! And the way that he suffered so much in silence and he didn't allow anyone to help him because he didn't even acknowledge that there was something to be helped with. He just dealt with it the way he dealt with it. Will forever live rent-free in my head. Nico, our demented golden retriever, as I have called him several times because that's what he is. And if you know me, you know I'm not a golden retriever man. This man is my kind of golden retriever. My kind of golden retriever, babe. I love a man who is obsessed with their partner. I just do. I just really do. And Bran's story and Nico's story and them together just healed me on so many levels, and I literally sobbed the entire way through that book. The entire way through that book. Even if you hate yourself, I love you enough for the both of us. No, I don't want to hear it. I don't even want to talk about it if I'm being honest. Why did I bring it up? So I could start crying again? The last book in the Legacy of God series that made me boo-hoo like a fool. God of War. God of War, God of War, God of War. And listen, you guys. I got one thing to say to y'all. I got multiple things to say to y'all. I see the hate towards this book. Even my favorite creators that I follow and agree with majority of their opinions, which we're not all gonna have the same opinions, okay? That's not the point of this video. But I've even seen some of my favorite creators who we have very similar tastes of books and they're like, I didn't really like this one. And I'm like, you guys, don't hurt my feelings. Still love you. We can have a difference in opinions. That's what makes the world interesting. We all have a difference in opinions. However, I'm gonna give my opinion. Okay, I'm gonna give my opinion. My opinion is that this book is like literally, go look at my ranking. You'll know. I believe it's top, is it top 3? I wanna say it's top 3 or top 4. It's in the high ranking for me, okay? Because Eli King, Ava, you guys, again, no spoilers. I can't give any spoilers. I can't give any spoilers. You know those books you read that not everything is as it seems? That's this one. That's this one. And one thing about me, I'm like a freaking FBI agent. So as I'm reading this, one of my besties, Kaylee, she does my nails. Also, don't have my nails on. Soon I will have my nails on. Oh, my bestie Kaylee, hey babe, if you're watching, love you. Mwah. She was texting me because she had read all the Legacy of Gods and she was like, oh my God, are you to God of War yet? And I was like, yeah. And she's like, no, just wait. And I was like, Kaylee? I already know what's happening. I already know what's happening because I'm a freak. Because I'm, what? Say it with me, guys. A thought daughter. I'm a thought daughter. I overthink. I think too much. I think from every angle. My ADHD hyperfixates. I overthink, okay? And I look at that as a superpower. I don't look at it as a negative, but that's just the way I am. I'm a thinker, right? I figured it out 90 pages in, sister. I figured it out 90 pages in, and then by the time I got to the end, I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming. I knew it was gonna happen. I'm a little investigative freak, because a lot of my book besties were like, oh my God, girl, I didn't even know what was happening till the end, and by the time I got to the end, I didn't really care, and that's what people say about this book. They're like, I just was like, it fell flat for me. And I'm like, that's because you guys don't overthink. That's the problem. If you're not an overthinker, maybe this book won't hit for you. I don't know. But for me personally, I love a character, specifically an MMC, who portrays himself as the bad guy, but really, oh, really? He's a good guy? And every time, even if I see it coming, if I see it coming, if I don't see it coming, I'm gonna eat it up. I'm gonna, yummy, feed me. And Rina Kent did that. Mother fed us. So yeah, that's all I'm gonna say about the Legacy of Gods books, because again, I have an entire video convincing you to read the Legacy of God series. Go check that out. We're done talking about it. The next series we're gonna talk about ACOWAR by Sarah J. Maas, the ACOWAR series, but we're only gonna talk about 2 books that made me cry, because only 2 books did make me cry. Actually, no, that's not true. 3 books made me cry. 3 books made me cry out of the 5-book series. So if you haven't read ACOWAR, do you live in a rock? Are you Patrick Starr? You know what I'm saying? And I know how people feel about ACOWAR. Some people are like, it's basic, it's whatever. For me personally, if you guys wanna know more about how ACOWAR saved me, go watch my mental health video, Books That Saved My Mental Health, because ACOWAR got me back into reading as a 27-year-old teenager. Actually, at the time, I was 25, and it changed my freaking life, and I am forever grateful to ACOWAR, and I don't care if you guys think it's basic. I don't think it's basic. It saved me, it healed me, and I cannot wait for my reread, and I cannot wait for ACOWAR 6! Ah! Okay, in saying that, I gotta stop. I gotta relax. You guys, I have to relax, okay? So we're gonna talk about the 3 books that made me boohoo and be emo, and yeah. Oh yeah, of course, like that's what the video is about, you know what I mean? All of them, obsessed. And I should do an ACOWAR ranking video. Anyway, that's for another time and another day. If you guys want that, comment down below. So the first book that made me emo in the ACOWAR series is ACOMAF. ACOMAF. My Beautiful Green. This is my favorite, probably my favorite book, and for several reasons, and I can make a separate video on that, but this is my favorite book ever. I have another edition of it. I'm literally just so obsessed. I have 2 copies of it because it's that important to me. I sobbed, and this is again spoiler free, so it's gonna be kind of hard, but Farah, our FMC, in this book, and Reese obviously, but what specifically made me cry was our FMC choosing herself. Our FMC choosing herself and sticking up for herself and finally admitting that the life she was living wasn't the way she wanted to live it. And if you guys know, you know. And if you don't know, I'm saving spoilers, but I'm trying to convince you. And if you haven't read it, I want to yell, but I'm gonna whisper. Read it right now, okay? The way Farah chose herself, the way she broke out of a cycle that wasn't working for her anymore, because this is no spoilers, but Farah, she acts like the older sister, okay? And I'll get to Nesta in a second, okay? Don't even get started. This is about Farah right now, okay? She has always been the provider, always been the one that takes care of everybody, and she had a moment in ACOMAF where she was like, you know what? F this. I'm doing what I want to do for myself because I can't do it anymore, because I'm so suffocated by what's going on that I have to choose myself, and I have to choose a different path because this isn't working. And yeah, I sobbed at that specific scene. I sobbed. And don't even get me started on my baby Reese. Don't even get me started on the High Lord of the Night Court. Ah, my baby, my top number one book husband forever and ever, amen, thank you. But yeah, that is why that book made me cry and made me emo, for that specific scene. And if you haven't read it, read it, come back to this video and be like, hey bestie, same. Because I know you guys will cry. I know you guys will cry. If you have any similar taste in books as me, that book will hit. It'll hit on a deeper level than just, oh, what a great plot point. What a great plot in the story. No. It's deeper than that. It's not that deep. It's always that deep. It's always that deep. Okay, next in the series. Next in the series is ACOWAR. No spoilers here, but I will say one thing about Sarah J. Maas, she's twisted. She's twisted. And there's a specific plot twist in this book that had me gnawing at the bars of my enclosure, ready to beat everybody's ass. Okay, I actually have a picture of me reading this specific scene. I will put it right here. You can see how dilated my pupils are. It was 3 a.m. It was 3 a.m. when I was reading this book. My husband was asleep. No one was alive to comfort me. Also, I immersive read that entire series with the graphic audio in my headphones for the very first time. I wanted to fight someone. I wanted to burn the world to the ground, baby. Okay? Okay? Yeah, I sobbed. And that's all I can say about that without giving any spoilers, because I'm not going to spoil anything for anybody. Just read ACOWAR, and when you get to that part, you'll know what I'm talking about. And the girlies that know, no. I was almost ready to DNF this series. I was like, anyway, that's how I feel about that. The next book is A Court of Silver Flames, Nesta's book. Again, older daughter, and at the time when I read this book, Nesta's story, I wanted to beat Nesta's. The whole time I read ACOWAR, I wanted to beat her. And again, for those of you who have not read ACOWAR, Nesta is the older sister that I was kind of talking about earlier when I was talking about ACOMAF. She is a to say the least, but it's not because she's genuinely she acts like a and the reason she does is because she is a deflector and a suppressor, and you learn more about Nesta's story in her book, and A Court of Silver Flames is all about her, and she battles her demons, and she kicks and she truly finds herself and learns to love herself and to let people in without trying to have this form of self-preservation and this form of self-protection that she has had throughout the entire series up until her book. And again, not going to say anything about it, but Nesta is for the girlies who put the world on their shoulders, for the girlies that keep people at a distance to protect themselves and try to protect others that they love, even if it doesn't seem like it's the right way to do it. She's a flawed character. And let me just say that, and let me say this, if she was a man, y'all wouldn't hate on her. Okay, let's get the misogyny out of the room, babe. Let's think about it real quick, because some of y'all's favorite MMCs have Nesta qualities. And that's all I'm gonna say about that. Okay. The next series I'm going to talk about is Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. Not all of these books made me cry. A lot of these books had me feeling like I wanted to go battle everyone and their mom. A lot of these books had me emotionally damaged. You know what I'm saying? But I'm going to talk about 4 specifically. I'm not going to talk about all of them. If you haven't read the Throne of Glass series, this is one of the series in the Massiverse. And if you are not up to date, you do need to read every series in the Massiverse to be ready for ACOTAR 6. So I'm not gonna tell y'all again, do it. Also, this might ruffle some feathers, and this might make some of my besties be like, me too, girl. And if it ruffles your feathers, I don't care. I am going to say it with my chest. I am an Assassin's Blade first kind of girl. I started the whole series like that, and the next time I do my reread, I will be starting with Assassin's Blade yet again. I know everyone's like, oh, if you do Assassin's Blade later, it's more emotionally damaging. We can fight, we can have words. And we can agree to disagree also and hug each other. We can do that too. But I don't agree. I started out Throne of Glass right after ACOTAR. Okay? I started Assassin's Blade and everyone's like, it's so boring, and you have to start it later or else you won't get hooked in the series. It's the way I ate it up. It's the way I ate the book up. It's the way I think about that book daily. My name is Sam Cortland and I will not be afraid. And that's all I'm gonna say about that. Throne of Glass follows our FMC. I need to choose my words carefully. Selena Sardathian. Okay, she is an assassin, and the first book in the series, in my opinion, should be Assassin's Blade. Technically, this is a novella. Sarah J. Maas herself said that you can read it second, third, or whatever order. In my opinion, I'd read it first, okay? And some traumatic things happen. In this book, it's basically just stories about adventures that Selena, our main character, in the first Throne of Glass book, experiences. In my opinion, it was like a trailer of what we were gonna expect. It got me hooked into Throne of Glass, and not only did it get me hooked, it ripped me to shreds. And in my opinion, if I would have saved that novella until second or third or whatever, so many other things happen in these other books, and it's such an amazing series. It's one of my god tier series that I would have been like, okay, other stuff has happened, girl. So this was the best starting point for me personally, the type of reader I am. If you're the type of reader I am, we're similar. If we're kindred spirits, I would say do Assassin's Blade first if you haven't started it. But anyway, enough about that. This is not a reading order video. My name is Sam Cortland and I will not be afraid. Okay. The next book in the Throne of Glass series that made me literally sob uncontrollably, Crown of Midnight. The entire Throne of Glass series is gold, but Crown of Midnight, if you know, you know, and again, no spoilers. But when this happened, what I imagined Selena to sound like is feminine rage and just depression when a certain scene happens. And you wanted to talk about Sarah J. Maas and her cliffhangers? That one got me. I didn't see it coming. Hindsight? Yeah, I saw it coming. But reading it for the first time, no, I didn't see it coming. I was just vibing. You know what I'm saying? I was vibing and then that happened and I said, ooh. So yeah, that one stabbed me. All I can say is that it was a cliffhanger. And if you know, you know. I'm speaking in code. I'm looking at you. I'm looking at you. My eyes twitching. The next book that is from Throne of Glass that made me literally devastated, Empire of Storms. Guys, where's my wife? Where is she? Where's my wife? One of my top book husbands. Again, if you haven't read Throne of Glass, can't even say names. Can't even say names! I'll say initials. RW. RW, the beach. Where's my wife? Take it off. Take it. Ah! My God. Empire of Storms. Woo! And this is like one of the last books in the series, okay? No words, no words, no words, no words. And the last book in the Throne of Glass series that literally brought me to my knees is actually the last book in the Throne of Glass series. That's gonna be Kingdom of Ash. And here's what I have to say. Everybody talks about, in Throne of Glass, the things that traumatize them. And at the top of the list is, my name is Sam Cortland, I will not be afraid. Okay? That's always at the top of the list. Valid. I just mentioned it, right? The yielding is at the top of my list. And if you know, you know. Also, it goes without being said, no spoilers, but after you finish the series, you know, it's emotional. Yeah, it's emotional. It's emotional for that reason, because it's the last book, of course. But the yielding, Yeah, I was never the same. I'm still not the same. I think about it daily. And yeah, Throne of Glass chewed me up and spit me out. And if you think that it's overhyped, that is your opinion. I respect it. But for me personally, emo. And you need to read it if you haven't read it. And the last group of books from one of my all-time favorite series. I still haven't decided if this is my favorite series of all time. You guys are not gonna be shocked. You're not gonna be surprised. You're not. You're gonna be like this. Won't shut up about her favorite series. No, I won't. No, I won't. I told you guys this once, I'll tell you again. I'm like Paul Revere with the books. The good books are coming. The good books are coming. Me, I'm gonna spread the news. You know what I mean? I'm gonna spread it. I'm gonna spread it like a little disease. Except not like a disease. I'm gonna spread love. Not like a disease. Not like something nasty. It's gonna be Zodiac Academy. Yeah! Yeah, it is! Okay, so y'all thought, right, y'all thought I wasn't gonna put it in here? Of course I was. The entire series as a whole, if you listen to anything I say, please read it. It is like trashy television, but it's like soul characters. It's found family. It's funny. It's damaging. It's hot. It's a good time. And I wish I could go back in time and experience it for the first time again, but I can't. So what am I gonna do? I'm gonna do some good works and I'm gonna tell you guys about it so you can go read it. And then you comment and you come tell me how it was after you read it because I bullied you. I bully all my besties into it. It's like my character trait at this point. And then we can share that experience. So out of this series, the entire thing traumatized me. It's traumatizing from start to finish. And it just gets more traumatizing as the series goes along. You're like, oh, is this gonna last? Maybe it's gonna last the whole time. So don't go in thinking it's just super fluffy and super funny. You will find yourself as the series progresses being like, I miss when it was like, you know, da-da-da-da-da-da. But it's good. It's better than good. There's not even a word. I can't even think of a word to describe it. It's iconic. It's everything. It's literally embedded into my bloodstream at this point. Okay, as are all these books. But Zodiac Academy, I will not take any slander on Zodiac Academy. If you leave a comment slandering Zodiac Academy, I'm going to not say anything because I'm not gonna have anything nice to say. Okay? Okay. And I respect your opinion if you don't like Zodiac Academy. I just can't engage with it because I'm obsessed. I see your point. And you know what? I probably would agree with why you didn't like Zodiac. I'd probably be like, yeah, I hear you, girl. I hear ya. I hear you, bestie. But for me, oh God, it's everything. Okay, I just had an entire spiel. I feel like this is what, going on 2 minutes and I'm talking about this? Yes, of course it is. The first book that literally sent me into outer space. All of them, but the first one that sent me into outer space, I'm talking crash out. My husband looked at me and was like, is this a moment where I need to take the book from you? Like what's going on? I have an entire video ranting about this book if you want to go watch it. That's gonna be Shadow Princess. Yeah! That's the fourth book in the series. And I am dropping a Zodiac Academy reading order. I don't know when I'm dropping it, if it's already dropped. It is just, there is no sense of time around here. I have no time, I have no scheduling, I just drop when I feel it. You know what I'm saying? I will be uploading a Zodiac Academy reading order, but I followed That Girl Reads, which is Jamie. Her name's Jamie, and it's That Girl Reads on TikTok and stuff, and I followed her reading order. And I would agree with her exact reading order, except a couple minor things that I'm going to mention to you guys later. But so glad I listened to her and found her because I read Zodiac 1 through 3, okay? And then her recommendation was to switch to The Ruthless Boys, which is the prequel series to Zodiac Academy. It takes place in the same world, just like a different side of like the kingdom, and it is different characters. But if you read Zodiac 1 through 3 and then you take your break and you go to Ruthless Boys, you won't spoil anything later on in the series. So I was listening to our queen, okay? I get done with book 3 and I'm like, I don't want to stop reading Jamie, God! And I love Jamie, by the way. I'm like obsessed with her. I consume all of her content. She's everything. She's a queen. Love you, Jamie. So I'm like, I don't want to stop reading. I don't want to stop reading. And if you're there, listen to Jamie and listen to me when I upload my video of my reading order because there's some slight tweaks that I'm gonna give you guys, but other than that, Jamie's word is law, okay? I get to this point and I said, I don't wanna do it. I do it. I listened. I read The Ruthless Boys, okay? Great. I'm excited. I'm like, yes! I read like a couple novellas before getting back into Zodiac book 4, right? I finish Zodiac book 4. And you know what I asked myself? I said, why were you so in a rush to get to this book when it ended like that? Like, are you actually kidding me? Are you actually joking? Are you dead? Are you serious? And if you guys want more info, like spoiler ridden, there is an entire video on it, so y'all go check that out because I literally crash out and I'm just mad about the entire thing. Love it. Love it. But I'm mad. I like angry cried. I was like, what the But what? What? There's no way. So yeah, that was my first crash out. Very valid. And in my opinion, that is the first time you really, really crash out in Zodiac Academy, at least me personally. I crashed out over minor things and I was like, oh, this is crazy. Baby, I didn't know crazy. I didn't know pain. I didn't know pain. So this is your warning. I like going in a series like knowing nothing, you know what I mean? But yeah, that was the first time I like really crashed out. So be prepared, but even if you're prepared with no spoilers and you're just hearing my warning, you're heeding my warning, you're like, okay, like she's saying be prepared, you still won't be prepared. You still won't. Okay, you still won't. So anyway, that was the first book that caused my very extreme crash out. And if you want to see me talk about it, go check it out. Go check that vlog out. It's just me yelling about Shadow Princess. The next book that sent me in a crash out in Zodiac Academy, Cursed Fates. Also my favorite book. One of my favorite books in the series. When I tell you, book 4 already had me like in a and then I read book 5, I said, is it gonna get worse? The pressure is getting worse. That was me. I was like, ew, like what is this? I'm having a good time, but also like, oh, what? Like what? Oh, what do you mean? Like that Jennifer Lawrence video. What do you mean? What do you mean? Me. And I will say this about the Twisted Sisters because I can't say anything about like the books, but at this point in the series, you're like, hey girls, because they're written by sisters and that's why their characters are so diverse and everything's good. I was ready to be like, you guys are going to pay for my therapy. You sure are, because what the freak is going on? Like, to be honest, that's what's going on. Like, we have, Zodiac Academy is the longest slow burn. It is true enemies to lovers. Like when people are like, enemies to lovers, say what you want about Zodiac Academy. Say what you want, but it's true slow burn. It's true enemies to lovers. The tension, the angst, all of it, just shoved the whole series in my mouth. That's what I could live off of for the rest of my life. Not kidding. Not even kidding. The next book that crashed me out real bad. I was on the side of the road on fire at this point, okay? And it gets worse. The pressure is getting worse, sir. Is Heartless Sky. Heartless Sky is book 7, and I was genuinely ready to DNF the series. I literally looked at my husband and he had seen my crash outs, okay, from Shadow Princess. Me and him, we're locked in, we're besties for life. So he knows everything I read. He might forget, I'm sure, because he's actually not reading this book. That is a goal of mine in this year and then in next year to bully him into reading. But yeah, he was scared. He was scared. He was scared because I looked at him and he knew how obsessed I was with this entire journey because I tell him everything. And I said, I'm done. I'm done. I was like, I'm done. I'm done. And I'm not a DNFer. If I get bored, I'm such a freak. I need to get better at DNFing actually, but I've only ever DNF'd one book and it was the end of a series and I was just like, this, whatever. And I'm just not a DNFer. Like it's not in me. I'm like not a quitter. And being a DNFer doesn't mean you're a quitter. I'm a stubborn person. I'm a Taurus and I was just like, I'm not DNFing, whatever. I was so upset that I went against my nature and was like, I'm DNFing this effing series. And my husband was like shaking. He's like, okay. So my husband, without me, I told him, well, I didn't tell him anything actually. I was just like, I'm DNFing the series. He's over there finger tapping on his phone and I'm like, what are you doing? And he was like, nothing. And I was like, you're Googling what happens, aren't you? And he was like, no. And I was like, yeah, you are. And I was like, I literally almost took his phone, but then I was like, no, I'm not gonna do this because I'm so a spoiler-free person. That's why I try to never spoil things for you guys. I never want to oversay things, so I undersay things about books because I'm like, I'd rather you guys just go in blind and take my word for it because I hate going into a series knowing something's gonna happen. You know what I mean? And at this point, I was like, I'm gonna DNF this effing series. I'm so freaking pissed. And my husband just looked at me and he is such a real one. I know I like literally am kissing his ass all the time, but like he really is. And I'm like a man hater to my core on the side. Like I'm not gonna lie because most men really suck. And I don't say that to be mean. Not all men suck. There are good men out there. I have proof of one, but shout out to him. Shout out to him because it's hard being married to a book girl, okay? Because he did not let me see anything. He looked at me and he was just like, and I was like, you know, and he was like, and again, I'm speaking in code, you guys. But the thing that made me so upset, there was an answer to it and he didn't give the answer away. That's all I'm gonna say. And it was really stunning and gorgeous and he's an icon. And yeah, that book, the way it ended, I was ready to literally burn it to the ground. I thought I was ready to burn it to the ground in Shadow Princess. I thought I was ready to burn it to the ground in freaking Cursed Fates. In Heartless Sky, I literally was like, I don't give a shit. Which is funny because I actually did. I just gave a shit too much. You know how that is when you're like, I don't care, but you actually do. That's why you don't care, because you care so much, right? That was me with Heartless Sky, and it was just crushing. But obviously, don't DNF the series. I didn't DNF the series. And once I made it through to the end of Zodiac, my husband was like, oh, I knew, and I kept it together. And I was like, yeah, you did. thank God, you're a real one. But at the time I was like, I'm pissed. And he literally told me the other day, we were talking about it, he was like, when are you gonna reread it? And I was like, oh my God, soon, obviously, because he knows me so well. And he was like, I remember like shaking and being like, how am I gonna keep this from her? She's crazy. And I was like, yeah, I am crazy, thank you. But he loves it. He loves his big mama. That song stuck in my head. Okay, anyway, next and last book I'm gonna talk about in this video, and I'm gonna talk about in Zodiac Academy, is Restless Stars. It's the last book in the series, just like Kingdom of Ash, except like I said, you guys, this is true enemies to lovers, this is true slow burn, and there's so many different characters. We get so many different POVs. We get attached to so many different things. There are so many pages in this series, okay? You read so much by the time you get to the end of the Zodiac Academy. It's so much information, but I swear I could take like a freaking test on it. Like, it's ingrained in my brain, okay? By the time I got to Restless Stars, yes, I was so happy because like the end of the series, you know, it was worth it. The pain is worth it. Okay? It almost killed me, figuratively speaking. You know what I mean? And I crashed out at multiple points. It took me so long to read Restless Stars. I actually took like a month-and-a-half break, I want to say, before reading Restless Stars. If you watch my reading vlogs, you'll know. But yeah, Restless Stars, the series, Zodiac Academy, worth it, obsessed. And if you haven't read it, what are you doing? What are you doing? Read it. That's an order. And hopefully I'll have my Zodiac Academy reading order or something out by now. I need to just make videos on it, and I will, but read it. And if I don't have the video up yet, comment and I'll comment back, or I'll DM me on Instagram and I will DM you the reading order. By the way, if you're not following me on Instagram, here's my Instagram. It's lit by Laurin. Go follow me. And my TikTok is Laurin Elexis. And I'm bad at answering DMs on TikTok because like there's so many spam DMs on TikTok, but I always answer my Instagram DMs. So DM me on Instagram if you guys ever have like a question about a series, and I'll be like, or comment down below and I'll comment right back. But yeah, read Zodiac Academy. Just freaking read it. All right, that is a wrap. We are done talking about the books that made me emo. I feel like when I'm reading, obviously, like I'm crying in the club, you know what I mean? But then talking about it and rehashing all these emotions, it's like getting me fired up. Who would have thought? Like, I'm not fired up all the time. But yeah, that concludes this video. As always, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me and hearing me yap. I love all of you so much, and I love this freaking community. I love YouTube. I'm a YouTube girl at my core. I have been since the Kid Roll days, to be honest with you. Since JB was a little baby singing covers, to be honest. Actually, probably before then. Love this platform, and I freaking love YouTube, and I love posting on here, and I'm trying to be more serious about it. But thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for hanging out, and yeah, as always, I'll see you in my next video. Bye!